So some of you know, back in May, Meeting Group of People started an alternative spiritual community. And then actually launching the exact same day, Meeting a group of former students of mine, started this like alternative student collective. And I've been talking about some of them, and it's been a while since I gave an update on kind of what we're up to, so I thought I'd just give you an update. So spiritual community first. So right now we're meeting most Sundays, I would say, not every single Sunday yet. Hopefully eventually that will be the goal. But for those of you who don't know anything what I'm talking about, this particular group is, it's basically a spiritual community in which there are no required beliefs to participate. The goal is to pursue spirituality in the broadest sense of the word. Human flourishing, togetherness, decency, love, kindness, community, right? When I say spirituality, that's what I mean. Obviously, there are people in the group, including myself, who have also kind of like beliefs in a higher power, but that's not mandatory for attending. In fact, even atheists and agnostics are welcome. So we've met, I think, 7 or 8 times, and I just want to give an update. It's really awesome. It's really, really going well. Basically, again, what we're doing is we're getting together most Sundays. I've been leading most of the time, but because, you know, it's kind of new, and I think it's just easier just on people. And basically what I do is I'll just find something interesting. Find something interesting that I read, that I heard on a podcast. Sometimes I'll share like a tarot card even. Which, if you don't know what that is, it's not about predicting the future. Tarot cards are basically visual representations of really important spiritual truths. So for example, last week we discussed the tarot card, the Tower. Again, if you're afraid of tarot, you probably don't know what it is. The Tower card is a visual representation of something that everybody can relate to and understand. The Tower kind of represents things that you have built up, or that we as a human society have built up, that come crumbling down, typically after some momentous disaster. As you can see from the tarot card, there's this lightning bolt, which is supposed to represent kind of like the wrath of God, or kind of judgment of God for human hubris and arrogance, and this gigantic crown being dislodged, right? That's something that happens to all of us throughout our lives, and that's what we talked about. We talked about how so many of us live our lives kind of building up things that we realize later on are kind of useless, right? And that there are things in our life that we protect and that we keep, and that when they fall apart and crumble, it's like we crumble with it, right? So how do we kind of deal with that? How do we think about that? So when I say spirituality, that's what I mean. We had a fantastic discussion. I will say too, one of the reasons why the group has been so, I think, exciting is that recently some of my former college students have come, and boy, Gen Z, I think, has a lot of questions about spirituality, and injecting that kind of youthful energy into the group has just been so exciting and fantastic. So the group has been going well. We're kind of, one of the things we're debating now is when we want to kind of like open it up and advertise to strangers, right? But I will say for now, if you hear what I'm saying and you live in the Baltimore area, and you know, you maybe have Sunday afternoons free and you want something, you're looking for like a community, a spiritual community that isn't going to make you believe in any particular thing, this is a really great opportunity. So if you're interested, contact me and I'll give you the info. I also want to talk about this alternative student community. So long story short, I started this community because after being at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County for 4 years, I had a terrible experience. I came to really, really, really dislike academia, and come to the conclusion that the American university system just does not serve college students. And the more I talked to my students, the more I realized that they felt that same way. And essentially what this group is, it's kind of like a radical research group. Like basically, we're learning about our university. We're going through university websites and saying, okay, why does this policy exist? Why is this thing that we don't like? Why does the university do these things that they do? What do they do with our money, right? These are the kinds of questions that we've been asking, exploring, and trying to find answers to. And the thing we're working on right now is this fall, we want to do some kind of like public action. Not like a protest or whatever, but we want to like compile some information that, and some ideas that we think college students would, of all political, you know, perspectives and opinions and identity positions, would be interested to learn. For example, how does tenure work? How does tenure affect things like teaching quality? How much do professors actually teach versus how much they do research? And how does student tuition kind of fund this system that doesn't seem to really serve students? So we basically decided we're going to make like a zine. If you don't know what a zine is, you can Google it, Z-I-N-E. It's like magazine without the MAGA, which means something very different today than it did when zines were first kind of invented in like the 70s and 80s in kind of like punk rock circles and whatnot. But basically a zine is a handmade magazine. They're usually kind of smaller, usually just like a few inches tall. And we're going to kind of publicize our group, try to spread information about our group, and try to start getting the students of UMBC to think about these larger issues, and to try to get people active in really, to be quite blunt, getting in the administration's face and saying, you need to start doing things differently and implementing policies that actually like include students in the decision-making process and that actually benefit students, and don't just benefit tenured academics who, get paid 6 figures to teach 2 classes and do research that nobody cares about all year. It's a little cynical, but that's kind of how I feel about things. So if you're a former student of mine, you've been kind of like on the periphery and haven't checked it out, please contact me, let me know. We want you to come. It's anonymous also, I will say. If you join the community, your name's not going to be put out there. We're building a community and we're building some really, really interesting initiatives. So that's a quick update of what's going on. Thank you all for listening, and hopefully I'll be back in a month or 2 to give you some more updates on how things progress.